Hello, is this live? Yes, it is. So we ready to rock and roll here? Yes. Can we invite everybody from outside in, please? We're going to begin.
You know, that wasn't a very good response. She said, are we ready to rock and roll? And you all said, yeah. Come on.
Is there life? Is there life? Okay, I'm going to give 50 seconds for people to come in. Too bad. Too bad they're eating. Okay. Come on in, Leora, get everybody inside, please. Okay, welcome. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're so happy to be here with you tonight. We're going to have a very interesting discussion about Persian empowerment and what that all means. Basically, for us, the tagline, what it means to us, is the engagement or lack of it in the Persian community on behalf of Israel and the Jewish people. So what is that like for you personally, and what is that like for your community? Can it be better? Can we learn something tonight together about what it's like, what it could be, what it should be? So that is the discussion that we're going to have this evening. I am Roz Rothstein. I'm the co-founder of StandWithUs. Thank you. An international education organization working now on 6, count them, 6 continents. And, and we are working in college campuses and high schools and middle schools, and of course on social media and in the legal arena to find remedies to fight anti-Semitism on campuses and high schools and everywhere that it exists. And so the work we do is very important. I want to quickly give a shout out to Esther Renzer in red. Stand up, please, Esther. She is the international president of StandWithUs and co-founder of the organization 23 years ago and 24 years in May. We're just about to celebrate a birthday. You can celebrate with us. How? Maybe tonight you'll find out ways. Okay, so that's me. I'm Roz Rothstein. I'm going to hand it over to Matthew, except Matthew, where's your, here, take mine.
Okay.
Who are you, Matthew?
Is it? Hi, that's a question I ponder on every day. Am I sitting on it?
No, you're good.
Okay. My name is Matthew Nuriel. I'm the Director of Community Engagement and Outreach for an organization called Jemena. That's an acronym for Jews Indigenous to the Middle East. Yeah, clap it up for Jemena. Yay. Jews Indigenous to the Middle East and North Africa. I'm also a content creator and social media activist, and I'm very honored to be here tonight with Stand With Us. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew, for being with us tonight.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chloe Levion, and I just wanted to really thank everyone for coming tonight. Thank you, Roz. Thank you, the fellow panelists, and thank you to a lot of my friends and family for making the time to be here tonight. I am the Senior Southwest Campus Regional Manager at StandWithUs, and when I was a StandWithUs Emerson Fellow in college, I got involved, and StandWithUs gave me the tools and resources to be proud on my college campus. And with that, I started a social media account called That Persian Jew, where I get to share my family's story, my story, and combat anti-Semitism.
Thank you, Chloe.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Sheila Nazarian. Thanks. I'm a loud Persian Jew. I'm a plastic surgeon in town. I'm a mother of 3 teenagers, married to a neurosurgeon, trying to hold that down with fumes while I fight anti-Semitism on social media and mostly Fox News. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Dr. Nazarian. I'm going to call you Sheila tonight, okay?
Please do.
Okay.
Thank you.
So these 3 panelists share a lot of things in common. First, they're all from the Persian community. Second, they're extraordinary activists and leaders and have big, proud voices. So they share that in common. Each one is different. StandWithUs as an organization is non-political. we are not religious, but we are very, very mindful of Jewish culture, and we try to be very inclusive and respectful of everybody's level of religiosity. But these three people are extraordinary role models, not just for the Persian community, of course, but for all communities. And really, they're at the base of kind of the core of what we're going to be addressing tonight. What's it like to be that voice? What's it like to be that leader and be that empowered? What we're looking for tonight. So I'm going to start with you, Matthew. So you're very engaged and very proud. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what that is like for you individually?
I mean, I've always been a very outspoken person, so that's where that kind of came from. And I've always been very much into exploring my identity and putting it out there. I'm sure all of you remember what happened in May of 2021 with the Sheikh Jarrah incident and the subsequent anti-Semitism that came about from that, which seems like child's play today, but at the time it was very, very jarring. And I've, by mistake, just spoke about it on my social media, which wasn't much of a platform at the time, and received quite a bit of interest because of my perspective. And I realized that there weren't enough Middle Eastern, specifically Iranian, Jewish voices out there speaking up. I think a big part of who we are and our identity really sort of bursts the bubble of the narrative that Jews are all white colonizers and European usurpers and so on and so forth. Add to that the level of the fact that I'm from the LGBTQ community as well. Again, that's another bubble burst. So in many ways, it's sometimes frightening, but for the most part, it feels incredible to connect with so many Jewish people globally. It feels incredible to connect with Jewish Iranian people locally and globally. It feels amazing to connect with Iranian people in Iran who are young and don't remember their Jewish community at all because it's such a small community now. All of those things are very, very gratifying. But what's more important to me than that is to keep speaking up and keep saying what the truth is, and keep standing up for the Jewish people, for the Iranian people. Yeah.
Thank you, Chloe. What's your activism like for you and your pride and all your activities online, everything that you do for students through Stand With Us and on your own?
Yeah, I never thought I would become an activist or be involved as a Jewish nonprofit professional. But when I came out of my Persian Jewish LA bubble and I started college, I realized that there's a lot of people who don't love Israel, who don't like the Jewish people. And I was waiting for other people to stand up against anti-Semitism on my campus. And people weren't standing up. And I realized that with each incident that I experience, it makes me louder and prouder in my identity, wanting to learn more. So I got involved with Stand With Us, the end of my freshman year of college. And it really opened a lot of doors to me. When I learned more about the power of my story as a Persian Jew, it made me want to learn more about Persian Jewish history. And at the beginning of COVID, I had posted a video that went viral on TikTok. And my username was Zionist Queen. And I would comment on Persian TikTok, and they would ask, why are you here? Why are you commenting? You're a white colonizer. So I changed my account back in 2020 to That Persian Jew, so I don't need to explain my identity, and I can empower others with the education about the Persian Jewish community inside and outside of the Jewish community. And now, as a senior Southwest campus manager at Stand With Us, I get to empower a lot of Persian Jewish college students to share their story on their campuses, to share their story online, and to combat anti-Semitism, because the Jewish college experience is not that of combating anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is something that happens to us. How we respond, how we embrace our Jewish joy, celebrate our Jewish pride is the Jewish college experience, and I want to empower the next generation of Jewish leaders to celebrate that on campus.
Thank you. And thank you for all the great work that you do. Of course, you, Matthew, also. And Sheila, tell us about your own activism. You're quite a superstar on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wasn't particularly religious growing up. I went to Israel when I was 13 with my mom, and a rabbi put his hand on my head at the Wailing Wall, and that was my bat mitzvah. I didn't go to Hebrew school, never, thought, I was like in the county hospital 80 hours a week, so like this was not on my radar. Politics were not on my radar, none of this was on my radar. Similarly, I started speaking up in the May 2021 conflict. I actually just started maybe like 6 months before that, just writing hashtag Shabbat Shalom on my social media, freaking out. As the elder social media influencer on the panel, I would say, I came from Iran. I escaped from Iran. And so there you wouldn't say you were Jewish. You wouldn't put a mezuzah on your door. You wouldn't put a menorah in the window. You would change your last name to not sound Jewish. So this whole like, I'm a Jew, Zionist queen, like never. And even before, like I know my kids were small, I wanted to put a menorah cardboard cutout on our front gate during Hanukkah, and my husband's like, are you crazy? They're gonna attack us. I mean, this was like way before. I went to Columbia University. I saw about 11, 12 years ago how much anti-Semitism was on that campus. That's when I stopped donating. Every time they sent me a letter to donate, I would write "Protect your Jewish students" in black Sharpie, and I would mail it back. They would just deny. They would just deny. God forbid they lose $1 of donations, and now we see what's happened on that campus. I started just with the hashtag Shabbat Shalom because my oldest daughter, who's now going off to go to college, she was applying to high schools, and I knew she was 4 years away from college, and I knew what was happening at Columbia. And so I was like, let me normalize being Jewish. Maybe some of my followers have never even met a Jew. I had a Netflix show come out that year in 2020, and so my followers were in 32 countries. And I said, maybe I'm the only Jew they know. And so let me say that I'm a Jew. So I did Shabbat Shalom hashtag with like candles, and I was freaking out. I was like, what am I doing? Blah, blah, blah. And then when the May 2021 conflict happened, my colleagues, doctors, were posting genocide, apartheid, colonizers, all this stuff. And similar to Matthew, I was like, I'm brown, I'm a girl, I'm an immigrant. Maybe I have, I can say things that maybe other people can't say. And after that May 2021, I was posting 8 hours a day. I was the first time in my life I had anxiety. I was waking up with anxiety, like the anxiety that you would feel if somebody was chasing you with a knife. I would wake up. I've never had anxiety in my life. I've gone through so much. I escaped from Iran. I lost my mom when I was 16. I've never had anxiety like this before. And so, but I just kept going. And I was like, my family was like, what difference do you think you're gonna make? All these presidents have tried. What are you doing? Other people in my family were like, you have kids, you have to keep them safe, what are you doing? If I was invited to speak at the federal building, my husband would like stand at the bottom, and then as soon as I was done talking, he would like sweep me off stage and take me home. It was like scary, especially for us. Like, I feel like the younger people, they're a little, some people are like, why aren't the Persian Jews speaking up? I feel like the young people are. All the people on campuses that I see that are leaders are Persian Jewish girls, right? And maybe you can explain that, but I think the reason why the Persians that actually escaped Iran don't speak up is because the trauma is fresh. And I tell even the parents, fine, you don't speak, but please don't tell your kids not to speak up, because we're not in Iran, we're in America, there are laws here, and our parents and you yourself did not sacrifice everything to bring your kids to a place to shut up. So I know you're scared, but please don't tell your kids to shut up.
Thank you, and that so inspiring to hear it that way. We're going to talk a little bit about the fear in the Persian community, because it's real. But for just a moment, I want to tell you that in 2001, when we started this organization, and we started having those rallies in front of the federal building, and thousands of people would come. and it would be a lot Persians. It would be a lot of you. How many of you have been to a rally in front of the federal building that Stand With Us organized? So I saw you in 2001, and I got it, and I connected with you. I'm a daughter of 2 Holocaust survivors, actually 3 Holocaust survivors, because my mother remarried another Holocaust survivor. So I was very embedded in this fear and in this trauma and in this PTSD, everything that you've heard on the panel. And so I right away really clicked with the Persian community that was showing up at our rallies. Remember? Really, really great. We had partners in you. So to say that you're not involved is not true. And then to take a look at our campuses and our staff, our team at Stand With Us, heavy Persian presence, heavy Persian leadership, not just Chloe. Chloe's not alone. We have a lot of Persian people on the Stand With Us global staff of 180 around the world. We're big now, very big. And so you're there. But in some ways, I think personally, looking at you from outside, and I thank you for allowing me to do this panel. As a non-Persian person, I am very honored, but I feel connected to you. So, but from outside, I think the Persian community, and now that's what I want to address with you guys, I think the community, you talked about yourselves individually. Let's talk about the community now. Can the community be more engaged? Can the community be doing more for Israel, for the Jewish people? I'll start with you, Matthew.
I mean, yes, any community can be doing more. I think what we see with the Iranian Jewish community in LA specifically is it's a little bit intimidating to people who are outside of it because it's a very insular community. I grew up in London until I was 14. It was not the same over there because we weren't such a huge community. We were kind of forced to integrate into the greater Jewish community in many ways. But here, that's not quite the same. My observation is, and this is just my observation from what I've seen with my family and with my experiences, I think that there's this idea that Iranian Jewish people are not giving enough to the cause, or financially, or with their time, or what have you. I think that this is what I do know, that our community is one of the kindest, most generous, most giving communities in the world, and I am so honored to be a part of it. And I will also tell you this, if I called my uncle or my cousin right now and said I lost my job, I don't have money for rent, I don't have money for my car lease payment or whatever, they would not even a question. And I think that that goes larger as well. Anytime, I just found out my cousin's jewelry store in downtown was robbed massively. That was my cousin. I didn't know until today. Yes. His sons started a GoFundMe for him. Within a matter of days, there was already $30,000 in there. So we are an incredibly giving community. I think what we need to learn to do is, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like we need to learn to trust outside of ourselves a little bit as a community, meaning trust the broader Jewish community as well. Because yes, as Iranian Jews, we are one big family, but we need to expand what the definition of that family is and who's included in that family, because more so than being Iranian Jews, being one family, it's Jews are one big family, and we are a global family. And I will tell you right now, the anti-Semites aren't looking at us necessarily and going, well, that one's Persian, and that one's from Morocco, and that one's from Poland. They will, to use it against us, but at the end of the day, they see us as a whole. So we must act as a whole, and that means leaning on each other and giving to Israel, whether it's an Iranian organization that's giving to Israel or not. We are one family.
Thank you. I just want to say it's not unusual for a community to be quote unquote insular. It's not unusual. My Holocaust family was only with Holocaust families, and they found each other, and they made clubs, and they did all that. So we understand it totally. The difference might be that they also overlapped outside of their community, and I think me from the outside here would like to invite more of that. Chloe, tell us.
That was so beautifully said, Matthew. I hate the stereotype that Persian Jews don't give, because our community is so giving, so philanthropic. When my young cousin needed a bone marrow transplant, overnight we saw group chats, almost 100 drives that were run to help him find his perfect match. Prayer groups on WhatsApps, donating, GoFundMes. If we see like Mama Nonprofit and these different Persian Jewish nonprofits coming up, I think our community is incredibly involved, but there's some hesitancy with getting involved outside of the Persian Jewish community, especially with legacy organizations or different mainstream Jewish organizations. I think it's less of seeing ourselves represented on those boards, less of seeing Persians at those events. It's less of the trend to go to some of those events, and I think it's discerning because it's something that I think we can all play a part in, of getting involved, giving to organizations that are outside of just Persian Jewish organizations, if you genuinely connect with their mission, because when you give, you get to be a part of their mission. You get to be a part of the impact, like an organization like Stand With Us. And when you start showing up, it creates room for other Persian Jews or other Mizrahi Jewish communities to show up, to come. When you're the first board member, Persian Jewish board member, it opens the door for more people. So even having this panel today, we're opening the doors for more Persian Jews to get involved in the general LA Jewish community and the overall Jewish family.
Thank you. Sheila.
Okay, you know I'm gonna be the spicy one over here. I'm gonna say yes, and for me, you know, studying kind of what happened in Iran, Roz, where the leftists joined hands with the Islamists, is a big deal for me. Then I learned about the story of Passover, which just passed, and 80% of Jews in Passover decided to do what in Egypt? What did they do? They decided to stay in Egypt. They did. Only 20% of Jews left Egypt. Okay, and so
Not sure that's a clear number.
well, this is.
But let's go with the
let's
flow.
go with
We'll
it.
go with the flow.
So for me, you know, while I love the idea, and I know, you know, when the people come for us, a Jew's a Jew's a Jew, but for me, it's really important that we make choices that do not lead us down the same path of what happened to Iran. And so when I see the flashbangs going off at UCLA, and I hear from the people, this is exactly what it sounded like in Iran. It started on the college campuses. It was the Communist Party of Iran that joined hands with the Islamists, and that's what led to the fall of Iran. Then we found out all of the REI tents that the encampments were using were funded by Iran. So guess what? They're using the exact same playbook. So when I hear organizations being like, we're inclusive, every denomination, which is great, I love that, but when it comes down to it, we have to vote. We have to choose our leaders. And they can't lead us down the same path that Iran went down. And I'm sorry, but that guides, I can't let America go down. Because if America goes down, Israel goes down. That's just the way it is right now. I hope that's not true in the future, but that's just the way it is right now. And so when I make choices, and the people I talk to in my Persian community make choices, that's what's guiding their choice. So if the money, even it applies to other organizations. There's other organizations that are like, we'll donate to this political leader, even though, like, everything he's saying is not good, but he's better than that guy who also is not good, but also hates Israel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just not how I want to, or the people that I know want to donate, right? Are you with me? There you go. There's the answer. And so it matters to me that an organization, I love inclusive organizations, and I love stuff like that, but really right now, we're in a battle for America. And we're in a battle for Israel. And that includes hard choices, but it includes brave choices. And so when I look at where I want to spend my time and energy, it's on organizations that are making the right choices, whether they're popular or not. And so I think in the Persian community, what I hear is that it's not, oh, a Jew's a Jew's a Jew, like it's true. So I want to acknowledge that. But again, it's the honest answer to your question.
Thank you.
But I do want to add to that, though, that the antidote to that is to get our foot in the door and to be present within those spaces. Because if we're not, they're just going to continue doing the same thing that they've been doing over and over again. So I agree with everything that you're saying, but I'm not trying to veer away from what you're saying. I'm agreeing with it. I'm saying, yes, and the way to fix that is to make sure that we have a seat at that table, at every Jewish table across the board, because our voices are important because of everything that Sheila just said, which was 100% on point.
I also want to add, most organizations, not this one, but most organizations within the greater Jewish community push certain voices out. Am I right?
You are right.
Thank you.
I'm not going to deny that. I think we've all experienced it.
Okay, well, from that, I want to talk a little bit about something else that all of us share on this panel, and that is that we are all on the slate called Kol Israel, which literally means all of Israel, or the voice of Israel, Kol Israel slate number 4. And I just wanted to ask you guys if you can share why you're part of this slate. I'll start. I'll say that I am part of this slate because it is non-denominational. It's Zionist non-denominational, so it's not any specific religious group. It is not political, so we have Democrats, Republican, anybody in between. We don't have a political agenda inside of Israel, so we're not Labor or Likud. So we are very much focused on Zionism, supporting Israel, fighting anti-Semitism, and supporting the next generation of Zionist Jews. Now, how do we do that? That remains to be seen, but we have this opportunity. We have this moment that we're able to run in this election, in this World Zionist Congress election. We're able to run, and we can hope to have a voice in the largest Jewish elected body in the world. And so I want to encourage all of you to please make sure that you take a moment to vote. It will cost you $5. And maybe we can even do it tonight together because, if you go home, you might forget, whatever. It would be great if we could do it tonight together. Vote Kol, K-O-L, Israel.org. Right? .org. Yes. Thank you very much, Chloe. So that's why I am on this slate. And I'm actually one of 131, right? Esther's on the slate. She's number 1. She's number 1. And so we are on this slate together, and for good reason, because we want to make sure it's a clean deal, and we want to represent you as Zionists, as people who care about the fight against anti-Semitism, like what you just heard from everybody. And so is there anything you'd like to add?
I want to just ask questions that people are asking me. So let's say they all vote Kol Israel. Kol Israel gets the most amount of votes. What does that mean? What happens with that?
Okay, so I'll advise. So if only we would get the most amount of votes. But it's a big struggle right now. It's going to be fierce. It's fierce competition, and that's why it's so important for you to really consider voting Kol Israel slate number 4. But Esther, what happens when you get a lot of votes? You get seats, you get a voice. Anything you want to add? Loud.
We have an opportunity to have a voice within the World Zionist Congress, which gives away $5 billion to exercise and to make sure that money is going to the next generation of Jews, to empower students, summer camps, education around the globe, not
So just to be very clear, it's a matter of $5 billion over the next 5 years. We together can help shape the decision-making of how that $5 billion is going to be spent. Will it be spent in the fight against anti-Semitism? We hope so. So that's what we're going to be involved in. That's what we're going to use our voice for. Is it going to be involved in empowering the next generation of Zionist Jewish people and friends of ours who are not Jewish? Is it going to be involved in helping that happen and for the future? Well, that's the voice we want to have. So back to you guys. Anything that you want to add with Kol Israel, because it's pretty important? Anything you want to add?
Sure. So for me, the reason I joined this slate was because, as I said before, listen, Zionism is fighting for its life right now. Let's keep that 100% real. And the people that are fighting us love seeing us fight each other. Now, this was the only slate, and I moved from another slate to this one for this reason. This was the only slate that was not specifically tied to or beholden to a political organization or a religious organization. So that means no special interests. All this slate cares about is the continuation and survival of Zionism and the future generations' understanding of it and continuation of it. That is one of the biggest reasons why I'm part of this slate. The other is that they intentionally chose delegates that have diverse backgrounds. These are there's more than 3 Iranians on this slate, by the way, and no other slate can say that. It is the only slate that has the most Mizrahim on it, outside of one other slate that is specifically tied to a religious organization, LGBTQ+, Ashkenazi, Sephardi, Flora Hassan Naum, who's a dear friend, is on here. That is why I'm part of this slate. We care solely about the survival of Zionism and ensuring that our future generations understand what it is, because that is on the line right now.
Very powerfully put.
And our slate is full of educators and leading social media activists like Montana Tucker or Tessa Vexler, former student leaders and current student leaders. There's over 50 Stand With Us employees who are full-time educators on the slate together, and I think it would be incredible if we get a Persian Jew at the World Zionist Congress.
Yes.
So that is Persian Jewish empowerment. Yes, that is Persian Jewish empowerment. Oh, that's where the name came from. Okay. Shifting gears, but before we leave tonight, we really want to see you on your phones. Hopefully, do the deed, vote for Kol Israel. We want to do that tonight before we leave. But I want to shift and ask you one final question to the panel, and then we're going to open it up to your questions tonight. Can we address the fear? The fear in the Persian community that holds people back, that makes them feel, you addressed it a lot, but let's go deeper if we can. What is holding people back from doing more, from being part of another group that is doing something for Israel? What holds people back so much?
I think there might be 2 components to this. One of them is a lot of Iranians specifically of my parents' generation grew up in a country where it was supposedly at the height of its secularism, right? In the 60s and the 70s before the revolution. Yet there was still this idea that you had to hide your Jewishness because there was still anti-Semitism. I think anybody who lived in Iran in that time can speak to that. Sure, it wasn't institutionalized, but it was there. And I think the other component is not seeing a lot of us. I don't think a lot of us see ourselves in the Jewish legacy organizations and in the Jewish world. And even when maybe some of us are present there, let's take it simple. Growing up in London, I went to an Ashkenazi Orthodox school. I went to Ashkenazi synagogues. This was in London. When I went to Shabbat, I didn't recognize the prayers. I didn't recognize the way, the melodies. I didn't recognize anything that was going on. So yes, I was there, I was present. I was one of maybe 5 Mizrahim in an all Ashkenazi school, but there was no effort made to make me feel like I belong there, or to make me feel like the customs I come from are just as valid as the customs. And they're the same freaking customs, right? They just sang in a different melody. But there was no effort made for that. So I think that there's a part of that where a lot of us don't feel like we've been seen. So it's like, why would I bother to put myself out there? And I do want to say all of that with the fact, with the idea that we do need to put ourselves out there, and I firmly believe that. And this is somebody who stepped away from a long time from the Jewish world because of whatever experiences. But now I stand firmly on both feet, with both feet on the ground in whatever Jewish space that I'm in. I'm here, I'm part of you, whether it be because I'm Iranian, whether it be because I'm LGBT, whatever the reason is, I am part of you and you're part of me, whether you like it or not, so you're gonna hear me. And I feel like, thank you. And I would love, love, love to see more Iranians taking that stance.
So I just want to say this is so important because you don't see yourself necessarily right away, but you have to get involved, otherwise you'll continue not to see yourself. So we got to get involved before we can see ourselves, right? So we have to take some steps into it before we can, and bring a bunch of people, be role models, be the role models, bring people in with you so you'll see more of yourself wherever you are. Okay, Chloe.
So I had a different experience growing up. I grew up in a Persian Jewish Beverly Hills bubble of, I went to public school, but it was mostly Persian Jews. I went to an Ashkenazi synagogue down the street, mostly Persian Jews. So I saw myself as the mainstream community. I remember there was someone who was Russian and Jewish in my class in kindergarten or first grade, and I was confused. How can you be Jewish and not be Persian? So I grew up with a very different, I see my parents laughing. I grew up with a very different background where I felt very empowered in my identity, and I was shocked when I got to college that people didn't know Persian Jews existed. And that fear is very real. And I am very grateful to my parents who allow me to do this work, even though I know that it's something that scares them. If they like it or not, and I know right now they are very proud and supportive of what I do and the work I do online and with StandWithUs, but the fear is very real. They fled persecution in Iran. They had to, you have to hide your Zionism in Iran. You have to hide the fact that you're Jewish, and to see their child proudly embracing their Judaism and their Zionism is scary because of the trauma that they experience. And I think a part of the reason why we see many Persian Jewish women as the leaders is that we respect our parents' fear, and we lead knowing that we have to be safe, knowing that we have to be aware of our surroundings, knowing that what we say will come back to us, and that we have to lead like Esther, lead like Mordecai, lead like the ancestors that lived through 2,500 years of dhimmi status, second-class status in Iran, yet maintain their connection to Israel, maintain their Jewish connection. And I'm so proud that my generation of Persian Jews and Persian Jewish women are standing proud, sharing our legacy, sharing our voices, and being a part of the change. But
And Persian Jewish men. Persian Jewish men, let's not leave them. Anything to add?
I would say, yes, again, I agree with like the fear. I think that exists. But I also think like culturally there is a little bit, like have you ever seen a Modi skit, the comedian, when he's like, good Shabbos, and then it's like, Shabbat Shalom, you know? So I feel like the Persians kind of like enjoy that over the top and the good food and the parties. And then, you know, the Ashkenazi sometimes look at us and they're like, they're so loud. I remember like it was my sister's graduation at Beverly Hills High School, and when you know the Persians would rock across stage, we'd be like, rah! And we'd have like the horns that you use on the boat. And then people would be like, go back to your country. Like, who are you savages? You know, so I think we have to recognize that culturally there is a big difference in what we enjoy, what we don't enjoy. But I think that you have to feed into that, you know, like one of the organizations came and like, let's do a fundraiser. I'm like, great, this is what works in the Persian community. We throw big parties, you know, we'll use, you know, whatever I was gonna donate, I'll throw a party and we're gonna 10 times that because people will donate what they're at the party. Like, that's how it works. And they were like, no, we don't do that. We just ask for donations. You know, and I'm like, that doesn't work in our community. So I think like, it's kind of like what Matthew was saying, like you have to outreach in the way that they enjoy it or then the way that they're used to it. And I think when we do that within our own community, you know, we went to a party at someone's house. They got like a band, there was music, some kebab. They raised $1 million in someone's house for the Persian community.
Wow.
Do you remember? Crazy. So I just think it's different. So I feel like there has to be a little bit of outreach in the way that they're used to it. So we have to like meet in the middle.
And that is true. That is so true of every community that is like this, where it's so comfortable to be with your own people. Of course it is. When I grew up, I thought everybody was from Holocaust survivors. That's the community. I thought everybody just got off the boat. I wanted to quote Einat Wilf, who said that you could see so much leadership among the Mizrahi, among the Russians, and of course, I'm going to add to that quote, among the children and grandchildren of Holocaust survivors, because we have suffered in the last generation or two. We have suffered, we know what it's like, and that is a big, huge part of our connection. Tonight, my connection to you, your connection to each other, your understanding the depth of the fear because you've been there, you've seen it, or your parents saw it. So we're together on this, we understand it. We understand the consequences of not being involved. And that's another reason I want to push you and invite you to be more involved than you are. So now we're going to open to your questions.
Hold on, I want to add something to that because
sure.
I'm actually really proud of this. The quote that you're quoting Einat Wilf with she tweeted that right after meeting with a group of us when she was here in Los Angeles, and there happened to be, out of the 7 people, like 3 or 4 of us were Iranian. So I'm not taking credit for that quote, but I think that we had something to do with it. And that goes to show that when you're there, when you have a seat at the table, you can make a difference, which also makes me think, Persian Jews, come on, I think we should make a promise to each other that next Pesach, we make sure to invite at least one Ashkenazi family to witness Dayenu firsthand. And if they don't go running...
the green onions?
The green onions. If they don't go running, those are our people, all right? So let's make that vow.
So, okay, opening up to your questions, I'm going to donate my microphone and take yours.
I need actually 2.
Oh, you need 2?
Yeah, we're going to do both sides. Okay, here's question number 1.
What other groups are running at Kol Israel? What other groups?
Oh, thank you for asking that. Why is this off? Hold on. Thank you for that good question. So we have Young Judea as part of our slate. And we have Alums for Campus Fairness. Who else? We have great groups that are part of this group.
But are they all Jewish?
Oh yeah, you have to be, you know, yes, you have to be Jewish to be on the slate. You have to be 18 years or older. And you also have to be Jewish to vote in the World Zionist Congress. So thank you for asking that. Thank you.
So I'm a Soviet Jew, and I actually wanted to comment. I think that the onus really is on us to be more open to you as Persians. With Fujan, I think I've been at countless events at her house. I've had lunch with you. You and I have become friends, and it has all been organic and honest. And I think that you're right, that when we're we're conditioned to see a group of loud, non-English speaking people and we step away. But if the second I've ever engaged with any one of you, it's been open arms. So thank you for always being so open to all of us, especially you. And I think that it's important for us to do a lot of the work, so to help you guys show up. Because when you do it, it moves mountains. So,
Thank you. Did I say Russian community? Maybe I didn't. Oh, I did. It's a very important community. We have many staff members that stand with us and a lot of descendants that are now our interns in high school and in college. So super important. Okay, Rebecca, you have someone?
Okay, thank you for this fabulous panel. Didn't grow up in LA, not part of Evangelis, but I did end up doing research on it. And anyway, I wanted to share two thoughts. One, my parents were coming of age during the revolution and they moved to Berkeley. They have a wild trajectory, and I'm plug my mother's memoir about experimenting with revolutionary Islam before coming back to Judaism. But there's this fear around political activism, and that's why I think tonight is, in the Iranian community that I observed, it was like, stay away from politics. And it's been really beautiful to see over the decades this shift every time I would visit LA before I finally moved here. And tonight, I think this message of vote, if you're Iranian and Jewish, be empowered first and foremost by voting. And on that note, I have other good news, which is there is another slate. So in case people don't know, for World Zionist Congress, it's like a parliamentary system. There's like about 22 slates, and Kol Israel is one of them, which is amazing. There's
Slate number 4.
Slate number 4. There's another newer slate that was just developed by LA, Los Angeles, like young Jewish leadership last fall, called Anu, like Anachnu, us, Anu. And while there may not be as many Iranian Jews, there are at least 3, Matthew, and I am one of them. So there's another slate.
Thank you very much. I'm going to cut you because this is our night.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you. Thank you for letting us know there are other slates. Yes, she's right. There are 22 slates. And, but what? No.
You vote based on the amount of votes, the more seats each group will have. So you vote, and then by each, the amount of votes leads to the amount of seats you have. So everyone will hopefully have representation.
So the one with the most seats is the one that's going to have the most say, obviously, and so on.
So, and before we leave this issue, I want to ask you too, to ask your friends and family to sit down and vote slate number 4, Kol Israel. If each one of you can get 5 to 10 people, watch them register so we know it happens. We could make a difference together, really. Okay, we have a question. Really? I did not know that. Is that right? 3 people for $5? No.
Up to 3 people in one
Household with the same credit card. With the same credit card. Stop it. Stop it. Okay. You can use the same credit card 3 times. That's what you can do. But you can't take 3 people from one credit card for $5. No, it's $5 a person. Yes.
Hi, I have 2 questions. Are there any very progressive, Jewish, but a little on the anti-Israel side slates? Okay, that's great. Thank God. Like,
Not on Kol Israel.
Esther is the expert. Can we get a microphone for Esther? Esther, be diplomatic, as you always are. This is a test of diplomacy here.
There are slates that are more to the left or to the right, absolutely. In fact, I was a delegate in the last round at the Congress, which is why I felt so strongly about running again and helping to build our slate, Kol Israel, because there's so much infighting at the Congress. Instead of a focus that is on the next generation for all of us. For example, right now, to add to your level of fear, whatever level you may have about the Jewish community here, I don't know if you know what's happening in K through 12, where there's curriculum being written right now that is going to poison the minds of students if we don't fight it. And so we need more people fighting it. We need more people focusing on our youth and what matters to all of us. And that is what this slate does. And that's why I'm so proud to be a delegate for Kol Israel. And I really encourage everyone to raise that level of fear, get your friends to vote, because we are in a crisis moment right now. And I agree with you, Sheila. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We have enemies around us, and they're joining forces. We have to stand united and strong. And that's what this slate is all about. And we need your votes. And I'm so proud to have all of you as part of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. So Orthodox, conservative, reform, unaffiliated, if you're Jewish and over 18 and over. If you're Democrat, Republican, just Zionism. This is about Zionism. Yes, Rebecca.
I had a question. We saw that a few weeks back. There was this teenager who was going into riding a bike, and all of a sudden there was 8 people that attacked him. It was from the COP students, and we talk about speaking out, and the main word is fear, but 80 to 90% is the main culprit is being attacked on the streets, as we saw it happen over and over again. That student was the same one that was protesting against the Palestinian, was for Israel. So could it be that we're afraid because we might get attacked?
Well, okay, let me just say that we, in 2015, opened up a legal department. And we are very busy helping students who have been pushed or attacked. But you know, the truth is, people are not getting pushed and attacked. That's not what's going on more than other things. The big thing is isolated, marginalized, discriminated against. We have all kinds of things going on, but rarely is it a physical attack. We've seen it since 2003, since October 7th. We've seen one of our Emersons got poked in the eye. I was up all night waiting to see if she was going to lose her eye by a stick, by a pole from an Israeli flag. But the truth is, there are not that many of those calls. The big thing is discrimination, or schools that don't want to give security to the Jewish events, but they'll give security to other events, or the schools that are doing all kinds of things, forgiving the encampments, doing all kinds of things that are really not okay. They're not following their own rules, for example, on college campuses. But I'll tell you just personally, I've been speaking out since 2001. I've been personally on platforms around the country, speaking out and speaking out. I'm on social media as well. Maybe sometimes, if it sounds like there's going to be an issue, and I've had threats online. I've been in touch with the FBI. I'm sure you guys have too. Yeah. It's, you know, we're public figures. We are public figures now. But you know what? It's not going to stop me. I'm not going to be stopped. I want to be a role model. I want other people to say, you know what? Look, she's fine, and she's speaking out, and she's bold, and not about me, but be bold, you know? Be bold.
I just want to put a little perspective too as well. I was really scared. I got a pig's hoof shipped to my office. It scared my staff. We've had threats on voicemails that my poor office staff is checking. I've become very good friends with the criminal threats unit in the LAPD. I have friends in the FBI now. So I usually carry a gun. I mean, I didn't even let my kids play gun games and video games. And now I'm going shooting on Thursday with Mag and So, you know, what I've learned from the LAPD is they don't usually attack people that are speaking up. They usually attack somebody they think is helpless, like an Orthodox Jewish old man walking back from shul. Like, that's what LAPD told me, number one. And number two, I just want to put another thing in perspective for you is right now 70-80% of Americans support Israel. Under 25 and under, it's 50%. So this is our best shot. If you don't speak up now, what are your kids and your grandkids going to suffer? So I just want to put that in perspective. And another slight perspective in a more harsh tone, think of the kids in Israel heading into Gaza with a gun, and you're scared to speak. These are 22-year-olds going into Gaza with a gun. 18-year-olds.
That's right. We need to be those voices here. We need to be their partners here. That's our job. We're not in Israel.
Me speaking is, I guess, why is it brave to say what you think in America? Why did all of our parents leave communist Russia, socialist Cuba, Islamist Iran? Why did they sacrifice everything? So we come here to shut up and be scared? No. We have to use our God-given rights, thank God, in America. That's why our parents sacrificed so much to bring us here. So use your voice or lose your voice. Grow a spine. It's nothing compared to what our parents suffered and what the kids in Israel are going through right now. And this is our best shot right now because politicians, vast majority, maybe they're not the loudest, support Israel right now. But when these college kids end up going into politics, we're not going to have that chance anymore.
I just want to add, thank you very much. Success and courage will breed more success and courage. So the more we do it, the braver and the more courageous and the more successful we will all be. And this is our moment. You're exactly right. This is our moment to do that together. Yes?
Can I just also add to that real quick? When we say speaking up, by the way, or I'll speak for myself. When I say speaking up, I think that people get this idea that that means you all should be doing what we're doing. And that's not the case. Find what it is that you're passionate about, whatever it is that you're good at, whatever it is that you're already doing, whatever business that you're in, and learn how to utilize that in some it doesn't have to be all your time, in some percentage of your time to fight for Israel, to fight for the Jewish people, and to stand up for yourself, okay? And I don't want to invalidate the fear that you're talking about. It's real. It's real. But we have resources, as Dr. Nazarian said, within the LAPD, within the FBI, within the Jewish Federation of LA. There are resources there to help us. So if that fear if there's ever a question in your mind about that fear that you want answered, hit up those resources because they're more than happy to help us, and that's what they're there for.
And if something goes wrong, if something happens and you experience anti-Semitism and you need legal help, we have 450 pro bono attorneys and a fantastic team of attorneys on the Stand With Us staff, and we're waiting for you to call. We're there. Okay, so we're going to take like 2 more questions, and this has been so great, I have to say. It's really such a pleasure with being with all of you, and your questions are amazing. Question over there, and then let's get one on the other side too.
Question.
Okay,
Comments,
Matthew said 3 more, so we'll do 3 more.
Comments in addition to what you were saying. I was born in Iran, went to Catholic school, and until 12th grade, I had no idea what prejudice or discrimination is until I went to college in Iran. And then they kept asking me, are you Iranian or are you Jewish? And also, I was called a dirty Jew, najes, anything that I can think of. And my father, coming from living in a ghetto, he always said, stay quiet, keep low. And I said, no. And when you cannot live with fear, and also especially with the Muslim community, if they feel that you fear them, they attack you. So my advice is that keep your head high, don't live with fear, speak up, number 1. And the one thing which was very important is I think the reason that Iranian Jews kind of prospered in Iran was because of Israel. Had Israel been destroyed, all of us would be destroyed. So our primary goal would be, I'm Israel Chai, to make sure Israel survives and prospers. That's our primary goal too.
Am Yisrael Chai.
Yeah.
We're together on that.
And then the last
100%.
the last thing that I have to say, 2 more things. I'm baffled. I'm baffled by the self-hating Jews, especially among the young people. I'm saying, what are their parents? I mean, how come they have no education? How come they don't know the history? So hopefully as part of your job would be to educate the parents and figure out how to basically chaperone the young generation to really understand the history of Jews. We are not imperialists. We are not this and that. I mean, we belong to that land, and then we have the rights too. And lastly, fighting anti-Semitism. You know, I've talked to many people at high position. I'm still, of course, it's not recipe for every country, every situation, but I think that there should be more communication among the Jewish organization to figure out how to fight anti-Semitism. Because when I talk to people, everyone says different things, and I think we are a bit lost. We don't have good policies how to fight anti-Semitism.
Okay, so we do have roundtables. People are getting together. Organizations are getting together. So in answer to that, don't think we're not. We are. So we are definitely more than ever getting together to discuss these things, problems, solutions, etc.
The other thing too that I think is important of what he said is, and I want to just say, a lot of people I think are afraid that they don't have enough knowledge to speak up. Like, I just want to let you know, until 2021, that May conflict when I was fighting on DMs with people on Instagram, I didn't know the West Bank was on the east side of Israel. I didn't know where Gaza was on the map of Israel. I didn't know anything. I was studying like boobs and Botox. Like, I had no clue. But I love DMs because people would be like, well, blah, 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 blah. And I'd be like, hold that thought. And then I'd go Google a bunch of things and I'd be like, no, look. And I'd be like sending links to them. So I learned in the fight. But what I want to, so you don't have to know anything to start, but I do think I'm grateful for that because I learned my roots because I wanted to fight on Instagram. But like, as parents, and you're saying educate parents, we you know, there's a value in knowing where you come from. So you have a strong roots. You're a tree that can't be swayed. So when people throw rocks at you, you don't crack, you don't fall, you don't bend, you know, because you're that strong in your roots. So yes, we have to educate the parents, but we have to educate them so that they give their kids roots. There's so many things. Oh my God, it's like being a parent right now is like so different than what it was being a parent for my parents. I'm like scared of everything. But again, what I hold on to is I've given my kids strong roots, and don't learn your roots because you want to fight on Instagram. Learn your roots so you can pass it on.
Good, good. I just need to add to this. You're with Stand With Us tonight. This is a Stand With Us Kol Israel event. And I have to say, one of the best things about Stand With Us is our materials that are free online. You guys now can use our bot. We literally have a new bot. So you can go standwithus.com/SWUBOT, SWUBOT, and ask any question, Sheila. Ask any question.
I wish that was there 3 years ago.
Yes, it's so cool. And it's all our material consolidated on SWUBOT. So with AI, yeah, it's very cool. This is brand new. It's kind of like in the last 2 months. Very exciting. Okay.
Hi. First of all, thank you guys. You guys are, you know, rock star, badass Zionists. I love each and every one of you.
You're a rock star, badass Zionist, Poojan.
Going back to K through 12 and also fear of speaking up, because I consider myself someone who doesn't really have a fear of speaking up. However, there have been instances where I have felt not the fear, but when I have spoken up, I've been confronted with just gaslighting, silence, pushing it aside. So does Stand With Us have resources for people who decide they need to stand up and they need a support? So if they've gone to speak to institutions from K through 12 and they haven't gotten the support that they need, how can Stand With Us help students like that?
Oh my God. Okay. So glad you asked that question. So that's what we do. That is what we do. The nature of what we do is we help students feel strong and confident about their ability to answer questions and have conversations with people. So people will ask a question, and if they are starstruck and they don't know how to answer, this is how we train them. And by the way, since October 7th, we have had hundreds and hundreds of students coming to us to come into our programs to be trained. So the good news is it really woke, you know, if there's any kind of good news here about this, it woke everybody up in a way to want to know more, kind of when you had to face not knowing where the West Bank was. This is what people want now. They want to be able to have a rich conversation. We have all the materials, we have staff, we have people that will guide you, and Chloe wants to talk.
Yeah, I want to add something. For example, in this room tonight, we have Abby Yossian, the SoCal High School Regional Manager at StandWithUs, and Kate, yes, go Abby. And Kate Chavez, Executive Director of High School Affairs. And they're driving to Orange County tomorrow morning to sit in a meeting with administrators to support the student and support the parents. This is scary to do, especially as someone in K-12 schools, someone in high school, or someone in college, whether that it's a regional manager or a lawyer, we'll be there with the students to guide them every step of the way. And if you want to fight things legally, we have a partner organization called the Stand With Us Center for Legal Justice, and they can sit as the plaintiff because they're a membership group. If you sign up for the membership group, it won't be your name against the university or against the school. It will be the Stand With Us Center for Legal Justice against the school or the university to shield the student's identity so they don't have to fear retribution to their grade or social standing.
Because sometimes they want to be anonymous. Sometimes they need to be anonymous, and other times they don't want to be anonymous. So it's a mix, and we have to be able to help everybody.
I just wanted to say one more thing. I know most of the people here are Iranian, and I'm going to generalize. We have the tendency not to vote, and we have a tendency to think our vote does not count. But right now, our vote, this is one of the most important votes for us. So please, each of you, take 5 people, pick them, make sure they vote, make sure you vote, and send it in your WhatsApp chats. Send it and tell people that their vote counts. Every single vote counts. Imagine if everybody here tells 5 people, and even they tell 5 people. Please do that when you leave tonight.
Thank you, exactly. That's what's needed. We need a tipping point. We need everybody to push in one direction. Esther, you want to speak?
I wanted to ask you if one of you is ready to just guide people right now on their phones with how to vote. Is anyone? Sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Everybody pull out your phones, and so you're either going to do it now or you're going to do it. You're going to know how to do it.
And there are people watching online.
Yes.
And people,
So-
we are joined. By the way, hello. I'm sorry we didn't greet you. Everybody, wave. We welcome your involvement and your engagement, and we hope that you will also vote Kol Israel slate number 4. Okay, let's do this. Which one of us you want to walk through that?
www.votekolisrael.org. Something will pop up. VoteKolIsrael.org. VOTEKOL Israel.org. And then there will be something something will pop up to register. So you 18. And you couldn't vote in the last Israeli election. 1.
Each person, one man, one vote.
Yes.
One woman, one vote.
Yes.
One person, one vote.
Yes, you could only vote for one
one.
slate.
Only one.
But your brother and your sister and your aunt and your uncle and your neighbor and your friends can all vote. And if you feel a little bit of the passion that everyone here feels for this slate, and the reason we're doing this, and the reason it's urgent right now, because the vote closes in a couple of weeks, right?
Yes,
And
May
it's been-
4th.
yeah.
It's finished, May 4th.
You know, we want to make sure that within the next 5 years, we do a lot of good, and we're counting on you. So call your friends, text them, WhatsApp them, however you can get to them. Bring your phone if you need to, and help them on their phone to vote. And let's do this together.
Yeah, the question Sheila just asked, can we tell how many votes we've received? And the answer is unfortunately no. We won't know until after the votes are all tallied. So after May the 4th and it's all over, that's when we'll know if you voted. Yeah. The competition is fierce. The people are voting wildly. So last I heard, it was over 100,000 people had voted. 100,000 people had voted. So we really need you. We need you, please. Okay.
And we promise to represent our community. We promise. You can hold us to that.
Yes. And we promise, including me, to represent the greater Jewish Zionist community. We all promise that. That you can take to the bank. We will do that. With determination, we will do that. Yeah. Well, thank you all for being here. Thank you. This was great. Goodbye to you online, and goodbye to everybody. Eat some more food, and